Okay,
Uh,
cool.
recording.
Yeah, so how did you come up with the idea of like what brought you to become a composer?
Yeah, so it was kind of an accident because I was a violinist as a teenager child. I was studying intensely, and my parents wanted me to also. I wanted to study piano, um,
Uh-huh.
as well alongside. So I went to piano lessons, but I told the teacher I was somewhat interested in writing music, and so
Hmm.
he really helped me focus on that instead of learning piano. So it kind of started from there, and once it came time to go to music school, like for university higher education, I chose to major in composition. I mean, I did a lot of other things on the side at school, but in short, that's kind of where it started. It was just kind of an accident, like most things in my life.
But then also like from a very early age you were drawn to music. Are your parents like related to music somehow or
No, they were just music lovers. They're music lovers, and they just exposed me to music. And it was in Estonia. There was a music school. At my primary school had a music school attached to it, so they just brought me to like an audition, which was kind of silly, but as because since I had no music experience, but they like audition you, and then
yeah, same.
yeah,
I went through this kind of nonsense too, yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of how it started in Estonia. Um,
Hmm.
and then, I mean, yeah, I was training as a violinist intensely, and then it kind of went along the side. Composition picked up writing music as well. Yeah,
Do you still play violin?
yeah, a bit. Not like I don't perform much. I haven't performed in a while actually, but it's only like because like again, it's a little bit of an imposter syndrome thing because like all of my colleagues, like classical colleagues, are very top notch. I can't match it. And I used to practice a lot and I knew what I like my potential. And I'm not able to even match my best self in like my top period of violin playing. So it's just frustrating to like play that kind of repertoire and perform as a classical musician. But otherwise, no, I'm always I like playing with people kind of as an amateur, if you will. But then I do record myself for just sounds and for like almost like sample based stuff. And just I dabble around still, and I'm definitely interested in continuing that and exploring. It could be something I could incorporate for this too. So
Hmm.
yeah, um,
But
yeah.
as a musician, you really come across very grounded. I don't know how to explain it to you, but like my experience with a lot of musicians is that a lot of them for some reason grow their hair long, and then they also get like very cosmic, and then like they kind of detach a little bit from this reality, especially if they are like the better, like the more like, intricate they become. Uh, do you see that tendency in you? And if you do, what is it that you do to ground yourself? Like, how do you get back to this dimension? And does it even make sense, this question?
It makes somewhat sense.
Like,
Let me see how to answer that question. So, how am I so grounded? I don't know. It was a process, but at the same time, I think it is true that oftentimes it depends. Like, uh, I don't like thinking in genres of music really, but
yeah, me neither.
I am in genres of anything really, or any art form really.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
but I am kind of surrounded by a certain type of group of people, and there are certainly it's a very diverse group of people with diverse identities and ways of expressing themselves. I don't know. I'm always ready to change and experience different things and explore and yeah, I would say so.
Ah, interesting.
So what about yourself? Well, first of all, how did you get into theater and stage performance and just performance in general and specifically more kind of European theater and such? How did you get to that point? Because I remember reading your bio somewhere, or you mentioned somewhere that you studied as a clown as a child. Is that right? Yeah,
Yeah.
but
No, like,
that's super interesting actually to me. But I'm curious. Yeah, how did you get to where you are now in your medium?
yeah. Well, it's like, when you sometimes when I have these ego trips where I think I'm very special, then I'm like, it's like there's nothing special about what I do right now, because basically my parents threw me into that at a very early age. And
Uh-huh.
I was surrounded by it myself. Like my mom, she studied, like, she's an actress, and then she moved to clowning and comedy.
Uh-huh.
Some reason, I don't know what, and she's a very talented actress. She's really
Mm-hmm.
great. Uh, and my father is a musician and also music composer,
Oh,
uh, and also like he's a art historian and a great like stage designer, like all of that, right?
wow.
Costumes and everything. And my mom is also like into visuals, costumes, writing, somewhat of playing music. Unfortunately, I really didn't inherit 90% of my father's talents in terms of sound and music. Like
What do you
I'll
mean by
have,
inherent?
like I mean, I as musical as my father is, like it's like I have nothing out of it. Like I didn't inherit that. I've got some other talents from him, but not the music one. And
I don't know. I mean, I will be the judge of that in my experience. I'm sure
I'll
you
tell you
have.
some stories. Like if you
Yeah,
want,
yeah.
you need to know that at some point. I'll
No,
explain.
I have faith in everybody. Everybody has. I don't know. I have experienced people always like putting them down, like, "Oh, I can't sing," which is just absurd. That when someone says I can't sing, everybody's able to sing. It's just people are embarrassed to sing. Maybe sometimes, oftentimes, because they say someone told them they can't sing, and that's a problem. I think when someone tells you you can't sing or you can't carry a tune, you know.
No, that's actually what this audition to music school did.
Exactly.
They were like,
Yeah.
this is like this post-Soviet mentality
Yeah.
of putting these kind of blocks on children. But you know what? Okay, just to illustrate the point, I at some point I realized that that's such a big block for me not to be able to like sing or to use my voice and everything. So I had some sessions, and I worked with this vocalist.
Coach.
Yeah, vocalist, but she's amazing. Maybe you know her. Her name is Helga Davis.
Oh, it sounds very familiar.
She worked with like Brian Eno, and no,
Mm-hmm.
she's like I don't even know. Like she's a god. Basically, it's like a version of a god. Like,
Yeah.
and she took liking of me, and and it was really funny because I came. I was like, I really want to sing, and we started working together at our first session, and then she had to sit down, and she was like, yeah, okay, so how do you work with this? I mean, she was, because I basically, my problem is that I have a, not problem, I have a talent in not being in a rhythm. Like, like
Sure, pulse. Yeah, I
if
get
there
that.
is,
I
yeah,
get
I
that.
will work around the rhythm pretty well,
Yeah,
but to be like on the beat, like or
sure. I
clap to
get
the beat,
that. Yeah.
it's like an effort for me. Um, so anyways, but she patiently worked with me, and the result was actually that one and only time I used my voice in that Lord of Beef
Oh, that's right.
Julia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was like a huge step.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
But I wouldn't say like it was something that I needed to do to check off my list, but let's say I think I could go some other directions. And sound is still for me. Like I'd rather work with someone like you than try to sing.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, I mean, as far as I have been thinking about actually, there's a movie which I haven't seen, but I've listened to the soundtrack. It's called Swiss Army Man. So Daniel Radcliffe's in it, and it's directed by Dan Kwan and Daniel. I don't know the names, but anyway, Daniel Radcliffe's in it. And it's kind of it's not like a blockbuster, like straight ahead movie to my knowledge. But anyway, the soundtrack is really interesting because it uses the actors' voices
Hmm.
including Daniel Radcliffe, and they do like mostly kind of gestural sounds, and they do sing basic stuff, but like Daniel Radcliffe is not a trained voice. Like he's not a singer, and you can tell, but they really make it work in a great way that is really effective to the music. I would say, and that's something I thought maybe we could maybe potentially explore. I'm curious,
Huh.
like I could kind of write out some ideas of what kind of sounds you can make, or maybe even some lyrics, and like I kind of demonstrate, but and maybe I can contribute to in the sounds of making things. Basically, yeah, I was thinking that's one thing as far as like a medium goes, as far as the music goes, where I could use your voice and potentially my own voice to construct music. And it could really be any type of music, because I would manipulate it heavily. Like I would put a lot of, it varies, but I would loop it and make rhythms out of it, and like kind of remix it, if you will, in many ways, if I were to do something like
That
that.
sounds amazing.
Yeah, I, I
Uh,
I could see that happening actually quite a bit.
huh.
Yeah.
There is another chunk of work that I do as a stand-up comedian, and
Okay.
I do it. I call it stand-up comedy. I don't think a lot of people think it is, but I think it is. I use vocal modifiers,
Hmm.
but like
Like what
kind of going
kind?
from male to child,
Oh, right. I
or like
saw a video. Yeah, yeah,
basically what I do is I dance on a pole, like sort of erotic dance or whatever, but I
yeah.
do not ever stop dancing. And there is like a microphone that's attached to the pole, so
Oh,
I'm
cool.
using pole like a microphone stand,
Oh,
and then
cool.
I keep on changing the voice while I talk, and I keep on changing soundtracks, because this is a lot for like comedy variety venues. I use movie soundtracks like Lord of the Rings or some other kind of Sweeney Todd or
Yeah.
whatever. No, but I love dispersing. I really love dispersing these things. Like you are used to seeing this like erotic dancer, right? And it
Sure.
does
Yeah.
look, let's say, like, okay, well, arousing. But what I'm saying is in a male voice, and usually I'm saying like such disgusting things as much as possible. like
Awesome.
like like when you're the more erotic moves I do, the more I would be saying things like, I am bleeding from my stomach, but if you fuck me really fast, it's gonna be good. Like whatever. Like I am dying in your kitchen or some kind
Oh
of
my
other.
God.
So it's nice. It's especially with like American audience who are used to like cues, with humor. It's like they are like trained like dogs. Like you really are like da 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 joke.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Punchline, punchline. Yeah.
like it's not as much as European audience who are like, it's smart to laugh over here. So for American audience, it's really healthy because it's like it's fucked up because
Yeah.
there is like you don't allow them to really laugh.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I miss so much the stage. I cannot tell you.
When's the last time you did that set, or that kind of a gig?
I bet like in January or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pre-COVID.
yeah. Uh, anyways, it would be nice to do that.